Hey everyone, we've got something pretty unique today. I am probably the only person in the last 40 or 50 years who has actually installed a new old stock NuTone Heat-A-Vent Lite. And what that is it's that. So how did this come about? Well, when I bought the house, there's 3 bathrooms, and 2 of them had those in the ceiling, and this bathroom that we're in now just had a hole with a big metal drum in it, and they had just put a piece of plywood over it. And so I figured out it was pretty obvious that that's what was in there because I could look at the other 2. I had to figure out what it was first, but then I got lucky and I found someone on eBay selling a brand new one, well, new old stock, and it's still in the box with the instructions. And so I bought that and installed this. Now, the video is not going to cover that. I did that 3 years ago. The reason why I'm up here is to kind of show you how it works. And what we are actually going to do in the video is we're going to repair one from the downstairs bathroom. So first, let's go over what this thing does. So it has got this control panel, 3 switches, and you've got a light, you've got a fan, and this red light comes on when you turn on the heater. Pretty neat. It looks like a flying saucer in there. Very 1950s. So when we had this hurricane last year, the roof was damaged and water came pouring through the ceiling fan in the downstairs bathroom. So I had to cut the power to it. I took it out of the ceiling, and we figured out where the roof leak was. I put new roofing down. So what we're going to do is we're going to rebuild that one. Now, a couple decisions. I live in Florida. I don't need the heater, and because so much water went through it, I'm a little finicky on how to wire it. So I'm going to kind of wire it so it's all controlled by one switch, the light and the fan. And part of the reason is the bathroom downstairs has other lights, so I don't need to use it as a primary light, similar to this room has other lights as well. But the other reason is these are really, really tricky to wire. You would think that with a light, a fan, and a heater that controlled by 3 switches, that you'd have 3 hot wires. And you don't. You only have 2. And it's really, really finicky. But because the other unit was so rusty, I decided to completely rewire it. And so we're going to do a very, very simple wiring. So you'll be able to see if you have one of these and you're kind of, you don't know if you want to get it working again. I'm going to pretty much show you how to completely rewire it. So without me explaining any further, let's pick up where I'm trying to pull this thing out of the ceiling, because this is old school. These things are nailed into whatever board was around. So it's pretty interesting. Let's get busy. Well, as much as I hate to take this thing out, I have to. Quite sure how this lens comes out. There's a poke tab there and there. I think they push in. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, they push in. I don't want to lose my lens. That's neat. I got a metal holder for it. Sure, this lens is completely irreplaceable. So we'll put that in safekeeping. Remote as well. Now, these kind of interesting. This is a light, a fan, and a heater. And it's sad to see that, I believe these are from 1959, thereabouts. This house went through a major renovation in the 50s and is now going through another major renovation in the 2020s. This is going to need some work because it's gotten quite rusty up here. I first noticed the rust in October of last year. Well, not the rust, I noticed water dripping out of it during one of the hurricanes we got in October. And we had water damage in a few spots. So I actually replaced that roof above here. I did metal, even though the roof that was there wasn't that old. But these are unique. A lot of people want them now. I was able to find, we were missing one. Is it Phillips? Maybe it's not. I can't see anymore. I was able to find one on eBay actually, because we were missing one upstairs. There was a huge circular hole in the bathroom ceiling. And well, that was what these things fit into. There's a big metal drum that goes in there. I got some wire clippers because I think it's probably likely this has not been taken down since the 50s. See the metal drum? So this I'll take and I'll clean it up. If necessary, I'll paint it. Alright. Yeah, the drum's gotta come out, so I gotta take the motor out and the drum. Whew, it is rusty, and you know, interestingly, I have a spare drum from the one I bought on eBay. How bad's the wire? The wiring's not as old as I thought it was. That's good. That's good. These are heavy too. I think I'm going to take the motor out first and then the drum. This is going to be another refurb project. I can see it. How is it wired? I'm going to take pictures of that. Because you've basically got a couple wires coming in, and those wires power everything, but I'm going to disconnect the heater. I don't really want the heater to work. The very idea of that disturbs me. But the fan and the light can work fine. Yeah, and it is Florida. There's 3 or 4 days a year that we actually need a bathroom heater. I think I'll live. I'm definitely going to be reworking this entire thing. So this is the hook. So you take these 2 screws out and the motor will hook down so it won't just fall on you. And that's how you work on the wiring when you install them. But I've got to shut that off, okay? Make sure this breaker's off. I'll be back. All right, this is the fuse box right around the corner that's in the laundry room. Heater, 20, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. 20. It's not that. Oh, water heater, 18 and 20. That's what that is, okay. So we're gonna just flip these and see. I've got the bathroom fan on. We're gonna flip it and see if any of these shut it off. Nope. Nope. There you go, that's it. So, number 5, which is unmarked. Unmarked. Okay, I gotta write that down. Number 5. Okay, we've got the breaker off. I'm gonna drop the motor and hopefully disconnect those wires at the same time. Flatheads, flathead, 2 flatheads. Luckily, none of these screws up here rusted on the motor. So, these were made for a one-person install. I'll show you how you would do it. This hopefully still works. Hooks over here. So it's hooked on, and that is how you do the wiring. Oh, this wiring sucks, it's so short. What the hell? I'm gonna have to change angles and look at this over here. Alright, since I don't have enough room to actually write numbers on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put hash marks. Hash for 1, for 2, for 3. That's 1, that's 2. These guys here are 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that is a 4. That is not a good wire. That should not be there. Let's go into the fan motor. It's an original wire. These wires, unfortunately, are so short that even if I unhook the motor, I can't really get at it. But let me unhook the motor and see if I can do the 1 and 2, and then I'll get a wrench and take those nuts off. All right, let's get these wires off. 3/8. You know, if they had just given me a little bit of extra wire, I think I'll probably find a simpler way to wire this. Maybe just, so when you turn the switch on, the fan and the light come on, or give one fan, or one switch to the light, one switch to the fan, and just keep the heater off. I don't want the heater in this thing working. I just don't like the idea of some thing glowing red hot in there, even though it has for a long time. All right, this is debatable. This wire here. Wow. Huh, okay. I gotta think about this. We got another problem here. We've got a wire. I believe it's going to the light socket that's not actually hooked up to anything except the light socket, and it's coming out of the ceiling through the barrel. So let me mark this as light and see if I can take the socket apart and unhook it there. So what I've got to see is if I can get this whole thing apart and get that wire out. Looks like it. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. It's in there. Let me disconnect these wires. Really just the hot wire has to come off. Alright, the motor's out. Alright, so this is what I had to do to get that out. I had to disconnect the hot wire from the socket. Crazy. But that's the motor. You can see it's got a significant amount of rust on it. I'm going to read the tag. But from what I remember, these are from 1959. NuTone. Oh, sorry, it's upside down. NuTone. Yeah, this is gonna need some work. All right. Oh, wait, now we gotta get that box out. And with that, I am hoping I can see where the leak's coming from. Hope so. Looks like these are wood screws, so it's likely these are what's doing it. This plate. What a mess. What a mess. I still don't see what's holding this thing up there. There are more screws here. That screw. Okay. That might be it. And it looks to be another screw there. One screw holding this whole thing in. There's no way that was doing it. Makes you think there's some screws up there that I just can't see. Something is definitely holding this thing in. All right, so it appears that probably against the actual installation protocols of this thing, that there are nails holding this in. And I don't recall that that is supposed to be the case. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to get this stuff out of the way. And I'm gonna try to, they're very small nails. See if I can get a trim removal tool or something under them. Step on that thing with bare feet. I'm gonna go get it. Good way to get a tetanus infection. Stepping on those rusty nails. Let me pause it, I'll be back. Alright, I got 3 nails out. I don't see any others. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's looser now. Alright, so this wiring is still a problem. Alright, so there's the wiring, and this box here is holding it in place. So, let me see what I can do to get that to let go. I guess the question is, are those nuts holding that metal box in? And that may be what it is. Okay, so those 2 nuts need to come out. Well, maybe not though. Huh. That is funky. way. This is going to be a very long video. I'm going to have to edit out almost all this footage and just say, okay, remove this box, like it takes 5 seconds. Let's put these wire nuts back on. There we go. Now it's coming out. And taking part of the ceiling with it. Because it probably has not been out of the ceiling since the 50s. Come on. What's holding you in now? Jeez, there's always something. I'll get this crap out of the way. Definitely stopping it from coming out. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna take one of the ceiling with it, baby. Is there a twist or anything that would do this? See anything in there. It's just the wood is very, very much right up against it. Woo! Whoa, it's out. Hope the camera was working for that. Jesus, what a mess. Let's do a quick look up there. See if we can see where it's leaking if there's a vent. Let's see what that is doing. What? That's a plumbing pipe. That can't be where it's leaking from, because it only leaks when it's raining. But this thing just vents into the ceiling. All right, well, I'm gonna have to wait till it rains. I'm gonna have to leave this apart. That gives me plenty of time to rebuild that guy. I'll be back. So, I'm gonna get this thing fixed and back in. So one of the things I don't like about this is there's only one wire going to this bulb right here. So I'm not sure if there's another wire under this, but so I'm going to rewire this. Is there a wire coming out of it? No. That's so weird. And I'm going to remove this socket and wire it like a regular light bulb. The fan motor is easy. I believe there's 2 wires on that. Yeah, let me put this on the tripod. We can look at that. So I won't be wiring up the heater. I don't like to use 70-year-old electric heaters. I see another half of the gasket for the light bulb is in there. So here's the fan motor, and here's the wires for that. Not great, but what I can do is I can put sleeving over these wires and tap into them, and then use one of the switches to power this and one to power the light. It's so strange how they had this hooked up. I've done one of these before upstairs, which is where this comes from, this spare box. But let's see. Let's do the light socket first. I'm hoping that I can do this anyway. My plan is just wire this thing up like it's a regular light bulb. 2 wires come in from the switch. But this could be a socket specifically made for this. Oh, I'm gonna have to get under there. It's rusty too. Great. All right, this one appears to be coming off. That's good, because now I can figure out what size I need. So I got to tap to this. So here's what we've got. I've got to tap to this wire, I guess. That's the only thing that would work. I should save this piece of tape. I marked all these. What's a number 3 on that? All right, so I gotta find a screw and a connector that'll work with that. I'll be back. All right, I thought the camera was recording, but it shut itself off. I don't know why. It must be running out of memory. So I'll recap. So I'm using, remember when I say at yard sales and things, if you see old extension cords, grab them. It's great wire. So I'm going to use this as opposed to using the regular house wiring that this had. And it's fine for one bulb. This is heavy duty wire. This is an LED bulb. And even if it were a 100-watt incandescent bulb, this can handle, this is meant for 3 outlets, so it can handle pretty heavy current. So what I've done is I added a couple connectors and I wired it in. So see this blue mark? So this blue mark is the hot wire. So remember this phrase, black gold. Remember from Beverly Hillbillies, black gold? When you're wiring, your black wire goes to gold. That's this. So when we hook this wire up, you see I've got it marked down here, way down the cord as well. When we hook this up, it's going to be this wire that's going to go to black from the wall switch. Okay, so we're going to insulate it. We're going to put it on something insulating, just in case, because we got to make sure this will work. This is pretty basic stuff. And then I'm going to plug it into this power strip here. and then use the switch on the power switch to act as if it's a wall switch. So we're just gonna go, and it works. So we've got our light wired. We're good to go. Eventually we'll clip this down to size, but we've got our light wired. So now we're gonna go back into this and remount the socket. Okay, the magic way to get these on without disassembling this whole thing is to turn it sideways. I was able to just pop the washer on, hold the screw, and then put the nut on. Okay. Tight. Socket's tight. Okay. Get our wires out of the way. Put our ceramic cap back on. Do another test. Okay, we're good. All right, motor, fan motor. Okay, we got a clip here. These go into, there's a junction box. See this? I don't know if I'm going to put this junction box back in because it's just a mass of wires poking through. So what I want to do, I've got these marked as 2. I guess these are both 2. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put shrink tubing on these because I don't like these old wires. This is fabric coated wire from the 1950s. I don't have any really long shrink tubing either, so we're going to have to do a whole bunch of pieces. But this will act as replacement insulation for this. Someday I'll have to get a more modern heat gun, but I've been using this one for 3 decades, so. Okay, so we got it on 2 pieces. And take 2 more pieces and slide them over those. And shrink these guys down. This is just because I don't have big, long shrink tubing. So I'm doing it like links in a chain. And we've successfully shrunk tubed or added shrink tubing to both these motor wires all the way back to the base. So that's good. All right, now we can start thinking about cleaning this up and getting ready to finish this off. All right, so before we think about putting this thing back together, we've got to repair this ceiling damage where the water dripped from the hurricane. So let's take care of that. There's a couple steps to this if you've never done it, but it's really nothing too difficult. so I'm using a plastic bin to catch all this. But basically, fortunately, it wasn't heavily damaged. That's the first step. We're just going to do that. Now we could just spackle over this, but I'm going to sand it. Okay, now I'm just going to get some spackling, fill that, and then I'm going to sand it again. So it's going to drip a lot. I'll catch it in this. And this is all you have to do is you just press it in. I mean, it's a ceiling. I don't expect people to stare at it. But you want it to look as good as you can. So, I turn the breaker back on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my voltmeter to, let's see, we want AC volts 200, and I see which is live. So I think this would be the light. Let's see which one of these goes live for the light. It's gotta be this guy. Okay, shut that switch off. Okay, this is the light switch. Now, that's easy. Now we're gonna make a little jumper cord to test the motor. Wiring it up like this just to keep the two terminals separated because it is 120. I don't want to blow anything. I don't want to damage the motor. All right, so we're in. So I'm going to hit the switch and we'll see. The motor should just kick right on. It does. Okay. Quiet too. So here's an interesting fact about these. It's really kind of interesting. These motors blow down. They don't pull air from anywhere, because if you look in the bucket, it's solid. They just circulate air a little bit. They barely work. If this thing were open, because this bottom piece here is this is what goes above the motor. So if that were open, the motor would pull air down, but it's closed off, so the motor does very little when it's running. But okay, so I think what I'm going to do is wire the motor and the light switch to the same circuit. So you just throw one switch, the light and the motor come on. It seems to make sense that way, and it's easier to do. And as far as the heater goes, I'm leaving it in there if in case somebody ever wants to do it, but I do not want to hook that heater up. I know it works, but I don't want to hook it up. No need, it's Florida. All right, let me get to work. Okay, I'm doing a wiring test. I've got the motor and the bulb wired to the same cord. On, and the light is on. And that's how I expect it to work. Perfect. So now that we've decided we're gonna have one switch control the fan and the light, I'm just gonna cap these guys off and tuck them up in here because I don't need them. This makes this considerably easier to wire up. And safer, I'd add. Because the way this was before, that heater was hooked up, and as I said many times, not too keen on using 70-year-old electric heaters for anything. Especially in the ceiling of a house that's over 100 years old. Okay. I'll just tie these together. They can get out of the way. I don't need them anymore. That's good. I don't know where to put them now. Well, I guess that's a good spot. Feels mostly dry. Close, not perfect, close. Let's see if we have as much trouble getting it out of here as we did, putting it in here as we did getting it out. Alright, that grabbed something. What about these guys? Yeah, that's not doing anything. Neither is that one. Alright, well. I would like to get at least one more screw doing something. Appears to be wood here. I'm going to go in the side, hopefully grab something. Okay. Looks like that's all I need to do. I don't need to use the sander per se. So Lowe's, Home Depot, they all sell a paint that's just called ceiling white. So I would say save yourself a lot of time trying to figure out what color ceilings are. And just always use ceiling white. just like on the exterior, I use a color that they call perfect white. Okay, so here's the motor. This has an interesting setup. Like they anticipated you would have trouble doing this with one person, which is absolutely true. So what they did was they built a little hook. And so you can actually hang the motor right there while you wire it, which is awesome. Great idea. Also a great opportunity to test wiring. Let's see what happens. It works. Okay. All right, let me get some electrical tape, seal that stuff up. I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got our wire nuts on. We're hooked. We're ready to kind of put this thing back up. So I'm guessing these are the screws. So all we gotta do is leave it hooked, flip it up into place. One more. Okay. Whew. One more sanity check with the power. We're good. Okay. Let's see how close we can get here. Now, if in fact there is nothing to actually hold these trim rings on, this trim ring on, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. We're going to have to figure something out. Yeah, it's not a tight fit. Not bad, except for I could stay stains over the ceiling from my hands. So I'll have to paint that as well. Oh, that's okay. All right, so last step is actually the lens. So let me grab that, I'll be back. Okay, I really wish I had just done this because I don't remember how this thing works. Apparently, you just hook it onto these two things. Sorry, it's where it's too close for me to see, and there we go. And then you just flip it. It's a pretty cool design, really. We're together. All right, I gotta do some painting. Okay, that's it. It's installed. This video was shot over the course of 6 months or so. I first noticed the water damage in October of 2022. I think I took this ceiling fan out after I had put the roof on, so that would have been around April. And I did that when I noticed the roof was still leaking. We got a lot of rain, and I knew that I couldn't use this light fixture the way it was with water pouring through it. It must have been damaged even if I did seal the roof. So there's several attempts to seal the roof, but finally decided the best way for me to find where the roof was leaking from was to go up in there. So we've done that. Hopefully we've got the leak sealed. The light fixture's been rebuilt. It was a lot of work, but we preserved a 70-year-old ceiling fan light fixture that really looks like a flying saucer. I mean, these things are very cool. And it was worth it. To me, it was well worth doing. So if you like this type of content, I can't say I'll be doing another one of these, although there are 3 in the house. Hopefully I won't have to. But if you do like this type of content, please like and subscribe. That really helps the channel grow. To those of you who have liked and subscribed to the channel, thanks very much. I hope you enjoy this content. I've got more videos coming. And as I always say, if you want to tackle something like this, I don't recommend in an old fan like this, as I said in the video, using the electric heater. I mean, if you've ever seen how quickly an old house can burn down, you get very particular about what type of electrical fixtures you have, especially in ceilings and things like that. And I don't want anything glowing red hot in a 100-year-old plus house ceiling. So I did disconnect that. I did a very simple way to wire it, and you know, well worth it. If you want to tackle something like this, hopefully you find this video helpful, and don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy. Take care.